So, big ass, how I get that,
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
What's goody, YouTube? How's everyone doing? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to yet another live reaction video. If you're new here for the first time, my name is TMR, and since you clicked on this video, you might as well subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave your comments down below, and enjoy this reaction video. What's goody, YouTube? What's good, TMR gang? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to yet another live reaction video. I'm your girl TMR. Thank y'all so much for stopping what you were doing and meet me over in this damn break room, y'all. Oh boy. All right, y'all see the title and y'all see the thumbnail. Okay, this is not a familiar face, maybe to some of y'all, but more than likely not to all of you all. But we're going to talk about this young lady on the thumbnail. Before we get into that, happy Friday. I want to wish you guys all a happy Friday. I hope you all are feeling good and doing super duper great. Did any of you guys catch the debate last night with President Joe Biden and former President Donald J. Trump? They've been talking about it all over the news from last night and today. And child, it was a mess. Poor Joe Biden. That man, I don't know why they allowed that man to do that debate. They said prior to him showing up yesterday for the debate, he was in Camp David for like a week prepping. Joe Biden was stuttering, and apparently he has a speech impediment since he's been a child. So we understand that, but he was getting his words, his thoughts were all jarbled. His voice was very raspy. They said that he had a cold. What alarmed me about more so Joe Biden was the fact that his vocabulary was very limited. Okay, he used words. At one point, he called Donald Trump a sucker. I said, not a sucker. Which, some people may say Donald Trump is a sucker. Joe Biden, from my understanding, Joe Biden and former President Obama were really good friends, and I just don't see why Obama didn't advise Joe not to do that. There's supposed to be another debate coming up in about 11 weeks. They're calling for Joe Biden to just leave the election. Just don't even proceed on with it because, yeah, that was a mess. I mean, you can clearly tell that man should be somewhere enjoying the rest of however many years he got left on this earth. It was a mess. Donald Trump, he avoided a lot of the questions that was asked of him. Even Joe Biden, at times, the host of the debate, they would ask him a question and obviously wait for his response. And his responses were very short, very respectfully. They would remind him, sir, you still got, or President Biden, you still got 68 seconds left to answer. Pretty much just telling him, you got anything else to say? It was rough. I was very saddened to watch that. I've never seen a debate go like that. It was very, very sad. So let's get into the commentary, y'all. Let's get into who's on this thumbnail. So this is a lady that may be familiar to some of you guys, depending on how long you've been around watching in the mommy sector, watching the reaction videos. But this lady on the thumbnail, her YouTube name used to be My 2 Cents, I think it was. I remember seeing her back around the pandemic time, so maybe 2020 somewhere, and she used to do reactions on the moms, on Olivia, Jasmine, and Chrissy. And I ain't gonna lie, she was hilarious to me. Okay, she was freaking hilarious to me. And then she changed her name to something else, and then I didn't see her anymore. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe a year or so after she came up, and she was married. She was shown, she had changed her name to, I'm assuming it's her married name, Miles, Mrs. Miles. And so she came to the audience to tell everybody, she married. She got married. Okay. So the lady, I ain't gonna lie, her commentary used to be funny on with the moms, because you could tell she's quite articulate. And honey, she used to really have me cracking up with her reactions to the moms. But now she's reacting on her own self. Okay, so just to give you guys a little backstory, she married a guy that she had been dating while he was in prison. So he was incarcerated at the age of 19, and he did a 30-year sentence in prison. And she started dating him about 5 years before he got released from prison. They're all from California. Her and her husband live in California. And I remember watching some of the videos where she was like doing, because I guess once he got released from prison, he went to a halfway house. So he transitioned from prison to the halfway house. And so she was traveling to go see him at the halfway house, and they would do like vlogs. Like at this point, she no longer did reactions. She just started doing vlogs. And so she was vlogging, their life, their interaction. Now this lady, I don't know her real name, but I know her used to be YouTube name was My Two Cents. Well, this lady has 4 kids. She had 2 adult children, and then she has a little girl. Her name is Summer. And then she just recently had a baby about 6 months ago by her husband. Okay. And so shouts out to the subscriber that sent it to me yesterday, because I forgot all about that lady. I hadn't seen her in years. It's probably been at least 2-3 years since I last seen anything about her. And I forgot all about her. And they sent me this video to show that she was basically reacting on the fact that after waiting on this man in prison, he gets out, they get married. I believe they married before he actually got out of prison, and started living their married life. And come to find out, he started cheating on her. Now, from my understanding, he has children as well. So I guess, obviously, not I guess, but obviously he had children before he got locked up. Now, remember, y'all, this man went to prison when he was 19, and he did 30 years. So he was essentially probably like 49, 50 when he got out. And I believe he got out, it was somewhere around 2020, 2021, somewhere around that time is when he got out. Okay. So now she's telling her story, and basically she wanted people to share her story. I thought it was very interesting. What I will say is, when she was telling us that she had got married to the guy, and she was very transparent about him doing time in prison. He also was very vocal about being an ex-con. I remember seeing in the comments, people were just trying to warn her of this union that she had with this man. But obviously, y'all, she ain't got to listen to the people. Just like we talk about these moms, we can suggest things, but ultimately it's their lives, it's their decisions. And now it seems like what people were warning her about that man has actually came to fruition. So what she thought was going to be this happy, lifelong, loving situation is no longer. Okay. She's having a lot of issues with her husband, cheating, not paying the bills. She just got a lot going on. So there's 2 videos I want us to react on. We're going to react on a video she put out about a month ago. where she came to let us know how she was feeling to find out that, that her husband had cheated on her. And then she did a couple updates videos, but there's one in particular I want us to watch. So make sure you guys click the like button, clock into the break room. You do that by hitting the like button. Cece said, why wait for a man all these years when he's in prison? She should have got another man. Well, Cece, she's going to speak on that. And I'm going to tell you something. The reason why I'm playing this video and I'm reacting to it, because there's something that she said in the video that I think speaks volumes, or should or would speak volume to a lot of women. And she definitely was talking about her self-esteem. Okay. TMR, she had her daughter believing her husband was her dad. Yes. Well, she's not believing. The little girl Summer is not believing that's her dad. She knows that's not her biological father, but she's basically, the man has taken on the persona of being the little girl's father, right? And so we're going to get into all that. We'll talk about that as I'm reacting to the video. So here we are. Now, I believe, to be honest with you, I don't remember exactly what he went to prison for. I'm going to assume it was unaliving someone. I think that's what was said when I watched her a few years ago. I believe he unalived someone and ended up going to prison for it. So, but my biggest fear was that he would be a predator, but he seems to love that little girl immensely. He's a bad husband, though. Yeah, he's a bad husband. And here's the thing, though. One thing, again, I don't know the lady's real name, but I'm going to just call her Mrs. Miles. One thing Mrs. Miles mentions in this video, she thought that things would be different considering their age. Because I believe she's in her 40s. And this man is a few years older than her. Now, how they met, let me go back a little bit. How they met was through Mrs. Miles's mother. So through the lady we're going to react to, her and her husband met through her mother. Now, how maybe her mama was dating somebody in prison too. Y'all know the whole prison pen pal thing. Maybe that's how she got put on to the man. He said it was Tasha, and he was indirectly involved with an unaliving, but he didn't technically do it. So her mother introduced her to this guy. So that's how she came about knowing this guy. Her mother is the one that put them together. And here's the thing. Obviously, I don't know this lady that we're going to react to. I don't know her mother. But at the time that the mom introduced her to this man who's now her husband, she had about 3 kids. Now, she also mentions that she used to be married. She was married before, and that marriage didn't work out. So I'm assuming this is her second marriage. I was just curious of why her mother would hook her up with a man that's incarcerated. Like all the men out here in the world who are living amongst us free, how do you think that's a good idea as a mother to hook your daughter up with a man that's in prison? Like, I didn't understand that. Out of all the people you could have hooked your daughter up with, you hooked her up with somebody that's incarcerated. And again, she's a single mom. Why would you if you're going to hook your daughter up with somebody, why wouldn't you hook her up with somebody that at least got a job? You know what I'm saying? The weirdest thing, when she said that her mom is the one that hooked them up, and I said, your mama hooked y'all up? Why would she hook you up with a man that can't help you financially because he's in prison? So essentially, you would be helping him. I'm not saying that you can't work in prison, but obviously the rate of pay that they make in prison is not the rate of pay that you make in the free world. So that was just very hard for me to understand. It's sad her oldest daughter don't like. You saying Latoya, you saying her oldest daughter doesn't like her mother, or she doesn't like the husband? Who are you talking about? All right, y'all. So let's get into the video, because what I'm saying will make more sense while you listen to her.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Let's just get right into it. First and foremost, I'd like to say that in no way, shape, form, or fashion am I looking for sympathy, empathy. The purpose of this video is to basically just share my story with the hopes of you guys sharing it beyond this platform, because I feel like it's something that is necessary and needs to be heard. Um, Particularly um, women. Women needs to hear what I'm about to say. It's nothing profound or deep or different that I'm about to say, but there's always somebody out there that just simply doesn't know, that has no idea. And
A lot of you remember who she is.
more often than not, women are getting into these same situations, thinking one way and it turned out to be another. And everyone's story isn't my story. Who have
Black and Bougie, let me react to your comment. You said that she stated that she used to be a reactor, because she was a reactor here in the mommy sector. She reacted on Olivia, Chrissy, and Jasmine. And you stated that she stated because she used to be a reactor, she knows people won't sympathize with her. But here's the thing, you guys. It's the way, in my opinion, people probably wouldn't sympathize with her because this situation that she's in was totally avoidable. She didn't have to marry a man that literally spent over half his life in prison. She made that choice. And she'll tell you why she made that choice. Essentially, it's because low self-esteem. She was, the man love bombed her. He told her the things that he knew she wanted to hear or needed to hear, and she believed everything he said. Now, again, although her reactions were very funny at times, she was like, I mean, you can react however you want to. You can say however you want to, because there's nobody really policing how you speak on these women or speak on people, period. But she was very, very, very harsh. Yeah, at times I was like, ooh, sis, you ain't have to say it like that. But again, that was just my opinion. So I don't necessarily feel like she's not going to get empathy or sympathy because she used to react. It might be the way she came off with the reaction, why people really ain't feeling no type of way. And then the other thing could be, again, you marrying a man who did 30 years in prison. Like, my thing is this, sis, what did you thought he was going to do after being locked up for 30 years? What did you think he was going to do coming into the free world? The man went to prison as a 19-year-old. The way he experienced life was through everybody else. He experienced life through television, phone calls, maybe a CO or two of telling what was going on in the free world. That's how he experienced life. You were living life. You had marriage, you had children, you worked jobs, you moved, you vacationed, you traveled, you did it. He wasn't doing any of that. So now he has a chance to get out here and experience life as a free man. Again, not saying that it wasn't possible for him to be dedicated to you, but my thing is, you didn't even allow this man enough time to get out here and quote unquote sow his wild oats, if that's the correct phrase. Like, you didn't even give him a chance to really get out here and to see if you are really who he wanted, or if you was what he really wanted.
went down this road, but I do think that when it comes to how we move as it pertains to jumping from one situation to the next, There needs to be more awareness of the space that we are in mentally and emotionally before we just decide to make a move because we can't um, take the time that we need to get our mind right. So let's just get right into it so all this can make sense. So when he goes to his parole board hearing and gets fined suitable, in his parole board plans, he puts that because you get to pick options um, in terms of where you would like to live based off of their list. And so from that list, he chose 3 places. He chose to be paroled like an hour and 30 minutes away. And by the time I found out, it was already set in stone. And so I just couldn't understand it. And what he told me was the resources available out there were like top tier. I mean, he would easily be able to find a job and, get medical assistance, dental assistance, all the things that he would need to transition into society comfortably. And it's
So listen to what she just said. Okay, so remember, they were married prior to him getting parole. They were already married. So she was already living wherever she lives in California. He goes to the parole board and gives them an address that was an hour and a half away from where she lived at. Why would you parole to where your wife is at? And his answer to that was, well, in this area, there's more resources for me. So if that's the case and you knew this going into knowing that you're getting ready to get out of prison after spending 30 years, why didn't you consult your wife and maybe talk her into moving where you felt like the resources were more for you? Why wouldn't that have been a conversation? She found out at the last minute. By the time she found out that he was paroling an hour and a half from where she resided, it was too late to change it. That right there was red, blue, green, orange, whatever color you could think of, flag number 1, in my opinion.
Still didn't make sense to me because, like, how did you make that determination and you don't even know what's going on out here? Like, how are you comparing that? I could only think that it's just based off of what he heard from the guys in there. That was a flag that bothered me, but I didn't take seriously enough. Not even 3 months out, the first thing I caught him in was lying about how much money he had. According to him, he really didn't have any money. So when I was going out to see him, because when he first got out, he was living in one of those transitional homes. So when I was traveling to go see him, which was like an hour and 30 minutes away, everything was always on me. I'm getting the rooms, and I was getting those type of rooms that had like the kitchens and shit. So I'm getting the rooms, I'm getting the food, I'm paying for the gas, I'm paying for activities when I get out there, bridge toll, like I'm paying for everything. How I found the money was he was having a problem logging into his bank account. So I just reset his password. When you log in, automatically your balances post first. And so when I see this money, we have a falling out about it. Because I'm like, where did all this money come from?
So she says the whole time while he was transitioning out of prison and was staying in the halfway house, she was traveling an hour and a half to where he was at the halfway house, paying for rooms, food, gas, entertainment. She was paying for everything because she's under the assumption, oh, you ain't got no money because how you going to have money? You just getting out of prison. She said 3 months after he got out, she realized He lied about the money he had. He got locked out of his account somewhere, and she had to redo his password. And as soon as she redid his password, the first thing that popped up was his account balance. She didn't say how much it was, but I'm just going to assume it was enough to make her feel some type of way. Now here's the thing for me. How we move past, first and foremost, you set your parole an hour and a half from where I reside. That's problem number one. Then problem number two, after 3 months of you being out and I'm spending all my money, again, being a single mom, then I find out you sitting on coin, it ain't saying nothing, and I'm your wife. Now here's the thing. This woman, when she used to react on the mom, she spoke like she really knew what she was talking about. Like she spoke with a lot of, knowledge, because I've been there, done that. And the fact that she allowed this man to do her the way he did her, it's very evident that she was not the only woman that he was hollering at while he was locked up. Trust and believe, y'all, because on the times that he wasn't calling her, you best believe he was calling somebody else. Because again, that's what occupied his time. Speaking to other people while he was locked up, that, living life through people living life in the free world. He wasn't just living life through her. He more than likely, I'm about 97% positive that he was talking to other women. She just so happened was the one who, in my opinion, was naive enough to marry him after knowing that this man did 30 years in prison.
According to you, you ain't got nothing. That was our first argument. Get past that. The next slide that I caught him in was, we're at the grocery store shopping. His phone rings, but he doesn't pick it up. He like, I don't know the number. And so I'm just like, well, if you don't know the number, just answer the phone and let them know they got the wrong number. What's the point of ignoring the phone call? And at this point, my antennas are already like up now. Long story short, it was the mother of one of his sons. Yeah, I've been talking to her behind my back about whatever. And then the third time is when I found out he cheated on me. And then after that, I found out he was messing with somebody at his job. He comes to the house and I could just tell he's stressed. And it's then that he reveals to me that, he might lose his job. His job calls him to let him know the outcome of their investigation. And so he's on the phone with them and I'm standing right there, of course. I notice he tries to cut the volume down on the phone. I can't remember exactly what I heard. I just heard that they decided to transfer him. Now I'm starting to drill him to try to see, what's going on, what happened, why would they want to transfer you? Why are you even being investigated? What's going on? And so that's when he comes up with this story about how this girl is trying to make it seem like.
So hold on, sis. So first you experience his baby mamas calling him. Now listen to what I just said, his baby mamas. So prior to him getting locked up, he was 19 when he got locked up. He already had 2 kids, because I remember him saying he had, I think he had like 2 kids prior to him going to prison. That was at 19. So, okay, he was already a hot boy. Obviously, this is obvious. He kept up with his children and the mother of his children while he was doing his bit, right? So that was one incident. Then the second incident, she said he cheated. She didn't say with who. She didn't say if it was with the baby mama or somebody else. Then there was the third incident. He's cheating with somebody at the job. Now, listen, y'all, this was just a few months after he got released. She has a child that's 6 months old. So the man has been out. I think he got out in 2020 or 2021. Somewhere around that time is when he got out. So all this that you're going through, the man's only been out, I'm going to just say 4 years. He done all this within the first 12 months of him getting out, and you thought it was a good idea to have a baby for this man?
Like more than what it really was between her and I, when all it really was, just somebody that I would talk to on my breaks. And of course, that's, I know that's bullshit. Bottom line is, he was fucking with somebody at his job. One thing led to another.
Exactly, Tasha.
I don't know what happened exactly. I don't know if it was something that old girl was not pleased with. I don't know what happened, but she ended up snitching on his ass, and one thing led to another, and they transferred him based off of whatever she said. And then the last time I caught him in something, I'm in his car, I'm going through his glove compartment, and he's watching me do it. Because at this point, I didn't been through so much shit with this nigga. I was just in there to be in there, just looking through his shit, being nosy. And then I found a phone. He had went out and got a second phone and was still on some bullshit. Even after that, getting past the whole phone situation, um, more lies and funny movements and just a lot of bullshit that I went through. It's been 3-4 years, and I'm still not over the fact that this man has cheated on me. I am still easily triggered. I am extremely insecure. Um, but this isn't why I'm sharing my story with you guys. I'm just telling y'all how I feel and how I am as a result of all this. Shit is just fucked up in a nutshell. It's not that I didn't think that this was a possibility, him cheating on me, considering the circumstances. And it's not to say that, if he was out, that this couldn't have happened to me. But given the circumstances, there's always a high probability that something like this could happen to a woman is dealing with someone who was once in prison and is now on the outs.
But wait a minute, sis. You're right. Statistics. You're right with the statistics. But it's the simple fact that you think about it, sis. You preserved yourself for 5 years. You preserved for the last 5 years of his bit. You was riding hard with him. You sacrificed a man that probably wouldn't have never took you through any of this for a man that obviously didn't give a damn about you. Because if he cared anything about you, knowing that you were with him these last 5 years, he wouldn't have even thought to treat you like that. It wouldn't even came to his mind. It's obvious this man don't care anything about himself and you either. So in my opinion, I'm pushing the fast forward button. I don't understand why she thought it was a good idea, especially at her age, because I think she's like mid-40s, to have a baby with this man, because now you're making it even harder. Now you didn't involve a child in the equation. It would have been easier to walk away, charge it to the game, walk away and go on about your life. But now you got a baby and you're going to be forever cemented with this man. I don't understand how she thought that was a good idea. Again, this woman talked like she was a wealth of knowledge. And again, y'all, like I'm saying, people make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, right? No one's perfect. And I think a lot of the reactions when we react to the moms and their foolery is all because we want better for them. But sis, don't you want better for yourself? Well, didn't you want better for yourself? Because again, I don't understand how she thought this was a good idea. The man had been locked up for over half his life. And now, moving forward, she's struggling financially. She's doing DoorDash or Uber Eats or something like that. She mentioned in one of her videos, She worked a 12-hour shift, and the app literally cut her off because I guess after 12 hours working continuously, they cut you off. Like, she's really struggling financially. So giving your life up to this man, waiting for him to get out of prison, benefited you in no way, shape, form, or fashion. No way. And again, I don't know how this story is going to help anybody, because she's currently still in the situation. I could see if she had divorced him, moved past him, and then she came to tell her story. Girl, you currently are still with the man. You're still married to him. So how does this story help anybody? Because anybody with good sense would know this wouldn't be a good idea. So you're not helping the girls with the good sense. And the girls with the bad sense, I mean, it is what it is. If you get caught up like that, you got to deal with the consequences behind it.
But even more so in my case because of him being 19 when he went in. So it's not that I didn't think that this could happen to me, but it still hurt beyond words that it did happen to me, because I just thought that we were better than that. I thought what we shared was just, I just thought that we were just on a whole nother level. I didn't think that he would risk it all, like that. Like, I'm thinking as old as he was, that he wouldn't even be in that mind frame, to want to do something like that. Like, but then again, we're talking about someone who went in prison at 9.
You would think, as old as he is, that he would be finished playing games. In normal circumstances, you would think that of a man that's 50 years old. However, you're dealing with a man whose life stopped at 19. You're not dealing with a man who was free and had been living life and experienced relationships and just experienced had a lot of experiences. That's not who you're dealing with. You're dealing with a man. When that man walked into the state of California prison, his life stopped at that age. So when he got released, he was released at age 19. Although it was 30 years later, so now he's like 49, 50. But essentially, in the mind, he's still 19. So you basically married a man who had not matured. He couldn't mature. Like, he matured in prison only because he had a birthday every year. But dealing with women and relationships and what to do and what not to do, he got taught by the OGs that was locked up with him, doing just as much time as him, if not more. He didn't get that experience from actually dealing with women in real time, in real life. And I'm sorry, I don't understand the way this woman speaks. I don't understand how she didn't put that out, like how that thought didn't come to her head. But again, she'll explain why in a minute.
18, so much for that, but still, that's what I thought. So much for that, but still, that's what I thought. I mean, this man was on YouTube, at one point, talking about how he would never cheat on me and how he was above and beyond it and how much he loved me. And it was something that I didn't even have to think about, because he was just on a whole nother realm of existence. Like, that was the furthest thing from his mind, was to get out and do something like that to me and hurt me and betray me in such a way, considering, how I was so solid and I was there for him. But of course, I didn't want to give that possibility any energy, because I didn't want to manifest that. I didn't want to believe that. I wanted to trust him. I wanted to believe that I would be that exception. And he betrayed me. Just easily betrayed me. Just took that 5 years I did with him, faithfully, loving him unconditionally, being there for him when nobody else was, friends, family, nobody. He just took that and just slapped me in the face with it. Just
Right. If she notices, you guys notice how she talks about everything she did for him, and nowhere did she mention anything he did for her. You said you were there for him mentally, physically, financially. You were there when no other friends and family were there. But what did he do for you? And with you knowing that, he comes out and basically showed you how grateful he was to you for that. He had no respect for you then, and I'm sorry to say, he don't have no respect for you now. None whatsoever.
like it was nothing. I'm so in love with this nigga. Like, I'm not in the deep end of the pool. I'm in the ocean with no life jacket in love. So it's like, no matter what he did to me, I just could not walk away. And I'm just stuck on why. Like, how could you? Like, fuck you being 19 and missing out on so much, and like none of that shit is registering with me. I can't even process that. Like, it's like, are you fucking serious? Like, how could you? And I tried. I really tried the whole 19 motive to try to help me wrap my mind around how he could just easily do something like that. And it's not given. It's not excusing it. It's not
Latoya,
make
you said she just needs to leave him and co-parent. I'm gonna tell you why she won't leave him. Because even after all he's done in such a short period of time, she went and had a baby for the man and is still currently with him. You know why she won't leave him? Because she feels like she deserves the man that she know he can be. But sis, he might be that man, but not just for you. Yeah, you sacrificed 5 years of your life and you was faithful and loyal and been there for him. Yep, you did all that, sis. But it sounds like all that was done in vain. What you got to do is preserve your own life moving forward. Just like he thinks about him when he out there cheating, he not thinking about you. But yet you're sitting in this car telling us the story, still thinking about him and how you can make your relationship better. I trust and believe you. When he out there laying with them women, he's not thinking about how he can make his marriage with you any better. He don't care nothing about you. And the fact that she's sitting in this car telling us this story, she's still contemplating how she can hold on. She's not going to let him go. He's going to have to do something it's going to have to be, really bad for her to let go. Because even after all the cheating, the lying, all that, sis still holding on.
making me feel better. Bottom line, nigga, you cheated on me. Like, you betrayed me. You broke my trust. You shattered our foundation. You fucking ripped my heart out of my chest, threw it on the ground, spit on it, stepped on it, like, just shattered my shit into pieces. There's not enough words to describe how this man has broken me. I have not been the same since that. And what's so fucked up about it is that he sleep good every night. At this point, it's been going on 4 years. Like, what do I expect at this point? Either I'm gonna deal with the shit or I'm gonna leave. And it's really just not that simple. It is, but it isn't. I am so fucking in love with my husband. What I should have done, what I need to do, what will probably make me feel better. I don't know. I just can't bring myself to do it because I'm so in love. And I've invested so much into my husband, into our relationship, into our family. I got Summer calling him daddy. Like, that's the only man she know. Like, that's really her dad. It would hurt her.
No, that really is not her dad. She has a dad. Now, where this man is, nobody knows. But he really, Summer really does have a dad, a biological father. This man, if being a father to Summer meant so much to this man, he wouldn't put her mother through what he put her through. So in my mind, when she made that statement, it's almost sounding like you're holding on to the marriage for the sake of Summer. Summer is a little girl who's going to grow up to be a woman. And she's going to grow up and go live her own life and go make her own family one day. Her watching her mother, in my opinion, going through a very dysfunctional relationship, watching her mother cry, be sad, in my opinion, is not helping Summer. So that's why she makes these comments, because in my mind, she's wanting to hold on to it. She's using Summer and the new baby as an excuse, when if that was the reason to keep the marriage together, he would have never did what he did to make the marriage fall apart. Because once he cheated on you, sis, the marriage is already broken.
So much if we didn't make it. I remember one time when she thought that we were going to break up, and she was, I can't even describe. She ran and she got all the pictures that she could gather of us that we took as a family, and she started taping them all around the house. And that shit fucked with me. I mean, that shit really fucked with me, because it was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I had got to a point where I was just like, I can't do this shit no more. I can't manage this pain. Why should I? Like, I just can't do this. And when she thought that we was really about to break up, that's what she did. She went and gathered all our family pictures that she could find, and she started taping them all around the house. I don't even know why she did that, but that shit just fucked me up. And I had to.
The reason why Summer took all the family pictures of y'all and started taping all over the house, because obviously Summer is reacting the way you're reacting. But that's still, like, kids don't keep a relationship, ma'am. I'm pretty sure you should know that, considering you were married before and you have 2 older children outside of Summer and the little baby, and you're not with that child or children's father. So clearly you should know kids don't keep a man. Yeah, if anything, that'd be the closest thing to push them away, because that's the responsibility. Like, you made this man a father again. See, she thought she was going to be the one because she made him a father after him, not fathering any children for 30 years. But you got to think about it, sis. He hadn't fathered children in 30 years because he couldn't. Not because he didn't want to, because he couldn't. He was locked up.
To take that shit back. Because it was like, I don't know, it was like she was having a breakdown or something. And it wasn't something that I really wanted to do anyway. But when I saw her reaction, I couldn't go through with it. Having to look at someone that you're in love with that also broke your heart, but you're still trying to make it work, you're still trying to move forward, is the most fucked up feeling in the world. He stole something from me that I could never get back. Like, I will never be able to look at him the same ever again, whether we together or not. He can look at me.
And so is that healthy for you? You just said you will never be able to look at that man again, no matter if y'all stay together or not. So you deciding to still stay with him, again, being selfish, because you don't want no other woman to have him, because you feel like you'd invested so much. Well, here's the thing about an investment. People invest in things all the time and eventually have to get rid of them. Y'all know that very first car you bought, you invested so much in that first car. You got it fixed up. You painted it, maybe put some new tires on it, took it to the shop, got it fixed. You did all that you could to invest in that car. And then what that car ended up doing after you had it, I'm going to just say 3 years, 4 years, maybe even 10 years, it stopped working, didn't it? And so what did you do after you stood there and watched that car, the car that you loved so much sitting in your driveway and it's not working. And you just keep staring and looking at that car, thinking about all the old times, how that car took you back and forth to work or took you wherever you needed to go. But even with you thinking about all the old things that you did, all that reminiscing, that still is not going to make that car do what? Start back up. So then what do you decide to do after you'd invested so much in that car? What do? You trade that car in and you go get another one. And you start all over. But this time when you trade that old car in for a new one, what you do, y'all? You do more investing. You do more, you take more time going to select that car because you remember how you felt with that first car and all that you put into it and how that car let you down because it won't start anymore after all you done for that car. So when you go look for that new car, you're more selective, right? You do more research. You make sure it's in your price range and you can afford it. And you typically try to go get a newer car because you don't want to have to go through having to rebuild something else, right? Well, that's the same analogy with what she's talking about. She doesn't want to give the relationship up because she's invested so much. But since the relationship is not paying you back, you're not getting anything on your investment. There's no return on your investment. And I can say that, you guys, from my own personal experience. It takes time to learn that. And sometimes you got to go through a lot, but unfortunately, it seeps in and it clicks in. If you're not getting any return on your investment, it's no need to keep investing in it. You got to let it go and start all over.
And see somebody that was down for him, somebody that went through the fire with him, somebody that loved him, somebody that was loyal, whose love is untainted. And once upon a time, I could look at him the same way, and I can't anymore. And so it's like I have my good days and I have my bad days. It's an emotional roller coaster at times. One day I'm looking at him and I'm just so in love, and other days I look at him and I'm just so deeply hurt to my core. And sometimes I ask myself, like, is this really what you want to do? Is this really how you want to live out, your days with someone? Do you really want to, be in a relationship with someone who you will never be able to look at the same? And I've tried to tell myself, like, you're not the only one who's been cheated on. It's not that serious. You can get over this. And, I have my days where I believe that. And then I have other days where I'm just so broken up inside. Like now. And the reason why I'm sharing my story is because, not because I got cheated on. Not because I feel like it's even fair. Considering I used to be a reactor and I had so much to say about other people's relationships. Most importantly, I'm sharing this because I feel like there is some woman who's going to need to hear my story. And the part that I feel that really needs to be heard is this. When I got into my relationship with my husband, I was vulnerable. I was broken. I was tired. I was hurt. I was desperate. I was not in a good place mentally or emotionally. Even going into that situation with him, thinking that, he could just be like a brother to me, or, something somebody I can talk to and get insight from. Because at the same time, despite what my intentions were, I never took into account what his intentions were and how that could possibly blow up in my face in the long run, should I potentially fall for this person because of my desperation and my deep desire to love and be loved, as opposed to me taking the time to take accountability. Because in every situation there's always some type of accountability that can be taken, that you have to take, because at the end of the day it's all about choices, right? So instead of me taking the time with myself to take accountability, to forgive myself for the choices that I had made, and to heal and to just love myself, I went into another situation, compiling trauma is what I essentially did.
When she said that, that made a lot of sense. And some of us can relate to that. A lot of times you wonder why you keep making bad decisions, and it be for those reasons. Because a lot of times we get with somebody based off the trauma we experienced with someone else and feel like they can heal it or fix it. But you gotta know how to heal and fix yourself. And I know sometimes that sounds far-fetched and some people just can't really understand. That's why we have always said sometimes it's just best to be by yourself. Because you can't expect for another man to understand your pain and your trauma, especially if he's not the one who caused it. So you got to learn how to fix yourself and get your, and how long that takes. I mean, that just depends on how eager you are to work on yourself. And working on yourself could be, I don't know, 6 months, 6 days, 6 years. I don't know, depending on how broken you are. But when she said that, it made sense. I said, oh, okay, sis. You're coming from a situation of a lot of bad, broken relationships. And I think that's how she was able to come and speak on the moms, because she was coming from a familiar place. Like, I've been there, done that. Unfortunately, this story just proves that, sis, you didn't learn from your mistakes. And most people, don't get me wrong, you guys, we will make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. I'm nowhere near perfect. Trust and believe. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life and still make some to this day. But I try not to make the mistakes I've made before, because I learned from those. And the fact that as old as she is and as much as she's been through, the fact that she allowed herself to let this man manipulate her in the way she did is because she went from relationship to relationship and never healing from the past trauma. Like we talked about with my Jazzy life. I feel like that's how she ended up with Chris, because she never healed from the trauma of Philip. And most women, a lot of women don't like the thought of being by themselves. Y'all think if y'all be by yourself too long that somebody ain't gonna never want you again. That's not true. You don't know what God has in store for you, but you got to work on yourself and be patient. Patience is a virtue.
It doesn't matter how many years was in between the last time I had trauma with Summer's dad and the trauma that I experienced with my husband. It's still trauma, because it's still a compilation of trauma, because I never healed from that trauma with Summer's dad. Shit, if we could just be honest, I've never healed from trauma stemming from my first marriage. So when you take all of that into account, just a compilation of trauma, because I never took time with myself to heal, because I didn't want to go through that process of pain and hurt. That shit feel like torture, like, and instead, just pushing shit up under the rug and pushing it off to the side.
But here's the problem that I have with her speech. It sounds really good. Right message, wrong messenger. Because sis, you are currently still with that man. You're still with him. And maybe you don't know how to get up out of it. But that's why I be feeling like a lot of times coming to the internet to vent doesn't really do you any good, because the internet is not really the place for that. If you really want to work through your trauma, go to a therapist. And maybe you go to one and that one really isn't for you. You try again, go to another one. Trust me, there's somebody for everybody. Or better yet, get into your Bible. Talk to God. I know some people don't like the thought of talking to God because people think, well, when I talk, somebody needs to respond. But God will always respond. You just got to know how he's responding. You got to get into your spirit to understand that. And that's something I'm working on, you all. So I feel like this was a good piece. I don't know if her conversation could help anybody, but I really feel like if you're a woman that keeps experiencing bad relationship after bad relationship, and you thinking, well, my God, is it me? More than likely it is. It's because you haven't healed from your past trauma yet. And you keep going into these new relationships thinking this man is going to help you heal, when he can't help you heal, when he doesn't know the trauma. He wasn't the cause of the trauma. You got to heal yourself.
And just, just trying to just shake that shit off and just keep on my journey to find love, instead of me taking time with myself. I've done nothing but just put myself through trauma. I've done nothing but just continue to make bad choices. And I'm not saying that I regret my kids as a result.
And that's why 2 cents, I'm just going to call her 2 cents. That's why you keep making bad choices. The way you came and reacted on these moms, although there at times the reactions were funny, but they were very harsh, especially coming from a woman who a few years later is dealing with the same situation. Like sometimes you got to give people grace. Like when I do my reactions, I try to be a little funny with them. I'm not really trying to come from a place where I'm trying to drag you through the mud. Like I'll say, Jasmine, just hush. Because I really be wanting her to hush, y'all, for real. Because sometimes Jasmine say stuff that just sounds so stupid to me. And I just really feel like being a grown woman, baby, you shouldn't be that damn stupid. But the reality is there are a lot of, let me not call her stupid. There's a lot of naive people in the world. So that's the thing. Like you came from a place of like, I got all this knowledge because I've been there, done that, but it sounds like you still going through that. You know what I'm saying? So you was condemning these women for going through the silly things they were going through when you were currently going through the same damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, sis, like it's okay to have your opinion and you see something goofy on the internet and you want to talk about it. But the way she would come down on them ladies, not saying that they didn't deserve it, because some of them did deserve it. She was back when Chrissy, the whole BAM situation, and she was around in Libya and she was around when all that was, 4 years ago when all that was going on. But damn, it's like now she's telling her own damn story, and I will commend her for being transparent. I commend her for that. I'm not going to say she's taking accountability because I don't think telling your story is not taking accountability. Telling your story is just telling your story. Taking accountability is knowing that you were wrong and you've already righted those wrongs. She's not taking accountability because you're still currently in that relationship and it just sounds like it's not conducive.
I'm just saying that I didn't make good choices because of me not giving myself the time that I needed to heal. Had I taken the time to do the work on myself, I wouldn't be in this position. Now I have to be fair and I have to be honest when I say this in terms of this could have still happened to me with somebody that was on the outs. I'm just saying that I understand, I'm aware, and I acknowledge, therefore I take accountability that I did not go into this situation with my husband with a clear mind, with a healed heart, and therefore here we are. So that is the encouragement that I want to send to women. Don't be like me. Take the time to heal. Healing is so important. I don't know what lies ahead for my husband and I. I really don't. Um, because I deserve to be happy. Shit.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with her and her husband. They're not going to be husband and wife for too much longer. Um, he's kind of already written y'all history, sis. See, you could tell this woman lives in a fantasy land because she thinks that, you know, miraculously one day he's going to realize that he did her wrong and he's going to right his wrongs. It may be, but like she stated, she can never look at him the same way. So even if he does right his wrongs from now into the end of time, you're always going to be looking at him feeling like you took me through unnecessary drama, which feeling that way is going to continuously cause drama in the relationship. Because every time he feel like he's doing the right thing, I feel like some way, somehow she's going to bring up the past. But then again, it's his fault that she can bring up a past because he allowed that to happen in their relationship. So had he never done that, then there would be nothing for her to bring up. So in my opinion, and that's not me trying to spit venom on her relationship, but it's already been spitted on, figuratively. He did that already to her relationship. So I personally don't see it getting any better. I think she needs to take time to love her on herself and love on her children. The person that sent this story to me said that she has an estranged relationship with her, I believe, the two oldest kids. I don't know if she has an estranged relationship with both of them, but the person did mention, I think, the daughter or the son, because she has a boy and a girl older. I believe they're grown. So she has an estranged relationship with them. So, instead of working on a relationship with your husband, sounds like that he's not putting in the same energy. I would definitely be trying to work on the relationship with my children first. To me, that's just important because again, he's already broken the marriage. When he cheated on you, he had already broken it.
He deserves to be happy too. He doesn't deserve if I say I'm gonna work it out, then that's what I should be trying to do. It's not fair to throw in his face him cheating on me. It's not. It's not. No matter how wrong I was done, it's still not fair. So when I say he deserves to be happy, because when I'm triggered and we go through these moments of me being triggered, nobody's happy. and it's just not fair, you know. I deserve it. I deserve to be happy. He deserves to be happy. Our kids definitely deserve it. They didn't ask to be here. I have thought about therapy, and a part of me just feels like I don't deserve that. To be honest, it's like, you know, now I'm looking for a crutch for something that I walked into with my eyes open, fully aware of what could possibly happen. He's a good dad, you know.
Wait a minute, hold on, sis. How do you feel like you don't deserve therapy? So you're saying because you made this bad decision, you got to reap the consequences of it. Are you saying you don't deserve to be whole again? Wow. I've never heard anybody say that before. Like, this woman is more broken than I thought at the beginning of this video. Now, I didn't see this part of the video. I only watched the first like 15 minutes or so, but I didn't hear her say this. Like, wow. Like, the fact that she feels like she's not worthy of therapy because she basically asked for this situation. And you know what the reality is, y'all? There's a lot of men and women who think like this in the world. And that's sad that she feels like she doesn't deserve therapy because she walked into this situation eyes wide open. Yes, you did, but you also stated you went into this relationship being a broken woman and thought this man could heal you because you were looking for love. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be loved. There's nothing wrong. We all want to be loved, but you got to be loved by the right person. And they got to know how to love you. Just because a man says he loves you doesn't mean he knows how to love you.
I can't take that away from him. He's a great provider. You know, he just hasn't been the best husband. So yeah, I really don't know what lies for
Right,
us in the
Suma.
future. But I just wanted to share my story, and I wanted to share the important elements of the process of healing, how deeply important it is to heal before, you know, getting into relationships, because I feel like had I did take that time with myself, I wouldn't have met him, because there wouldn't have been a need for me to be so desperate enough to feel like I needed that that companionship with him. Because my
Girl, it's the fact that your mama thought that you needed that type of. It's the fact that your mama hooked you up with a man that was doing a 30-year bid. Like, it's the fact that your mama thought that was a good idea. Why did she think that was a good idea? Considering you are already a very broken woman. Like, do your mama not like you? No, I'm serious, y'all. I'm not trying to be funny. Like, the fact that your mama thought that was a good idea? Hell, your mama didn't even know this man. Oh my God.
head would have been in a completely different direction on something else. Um, but, you know, there's that saying of everything happens for a reason. And for whatever reason, things happened the way that they did in terms of me meeting my now husband, in spite of what has happened to me. Please take the time to heal. Really take the time to figure out what it means to love yourself, what you require out of love from another. You know, just take the time with yourself. But I can't stress that enough.
Well, it's unfortunate that she can give good advice, but she can't take it. That's unfortunate. Okay. Um, PJ said her brokenness came from somewhere. I'm sure the mom contributed. Yeah, she has a video where she says she's apologizing to her mom. Like I said, y'all, I didn't really get into her like that. I used to watch her reactions back in the day because she was just funny. But her story with the guy marrying the guy from prison, I didn't really get into that story. You said what's her YouTube name? It's something Mrs. Miles. Hold on. What is her channel name? It's Mrs. Miles World, Miles World, Mrs. Miles World. Okay. So, real quick, you guys, I know some of you guys are kind of over it by now, but she did a video today, to like a few minutes ago. Well, not a few minutes ago, maybe an hour or so ago. And she said she was checking in. And I think this one kind of summarizes what we've been saying in the chat for the past, I don't know, however long we've been on here, 30 minutes or so. So let me click onto this video real quick. I don't know if you guys have had the chance to hit the like button, but if you enjoyed my reaction, please make sure you guys clock into the break room, hit that like button for me. Hey, Nearly, how are you? Okay, y'all, let me get this one on the screen.
Some downtime, I would check in with you guys. I know it's been a few days. I've been MIA. I just been out here just in my mind, trying to stay focused in terms of my healing process, still having reflections and trying to make connections and, stay on track with that. I look forward to my first therapy session coming up this month. I've been still looking for work.
Thank you, Five.
And basically just trying to just stay focused in terms of making sure I'm okay. Financial independence and stability has been a priority. These are the things that have been at the forefront of my thinking. Those are the things that I've been trying to stay focused on throughout all this chaos that I'm experiencing with my husband. As I've said before, my marriage is on the back burner. I'm not even thinking about my marriage like that, especially if him and I cannot have a serious conversation about the issues. It's almost as if he's trying to like wait it out, and then try to casually make up conversation as if, nothing's going on. And I'm not doing that.
See, you know what? I think she's another my Jazzy Life situation. Y'all remember how we talked about the reason why Jasmine had a baby for Chris, because she had to show Chris the reason why they needed to be a family, because now they have a child together in common. It almost gives me that that's the reason why Mrs. Miles did the same thing with her husband, because the little boy, she birthed a little boy about 6 or 7 months ago. And again, they've been married about 4 years, and he's been cheating since he first got out. So I really feel like this is like another my Jazzy Life situation. You had a baby for this man, although Summer, which is her daughter, is his stepdaughter because they're legally married, but that's not their biological child together. So I feel like she probably more than likely had this baby so they could have something, in common together, that they both created together, was this baby. And even after having the little boy, and he's about 6-7 months old, now she's talking, today's current video, that their marriage is broken. The word she uses, she's putting her marriage on the back burner after having this baby.
It's like either we're going to talk about that or we're not going to talk about anything. And we're only going to talk when absolutely necessary. And so that's like, household stuff and the kids. Other than that, I'm not trying to talk to you like that, because I need you to understand that this is serious. He's created this narrative of me just being a negative person. So he's staying away from any type of conversations that have to do with our issues. And he's hiding behind this narrative that he's created to justify his avoidance.
No, sis, he's not hiding behind anything. He know he did wrong. He knew he was doing wrong when he was doing wrong. and he doesn't care, because obviously it sounds like he's a very selfish individual and he only thinks about himself. Again, you got to understand, this man was locked up for 30 years. All he had to do was worry about himself. For 30 years, the only person he had to be concerned with was himself. Although he had kids prior to going to prison, when he was 19, when he went to prison, he didn't have to worry about those children because the mother or the mothers of those children were worrying about those children, because this man only cared about himself because that's all he had to. So you wanted this man to get out of prison after being locked up for 30 years, over half his life, and you wanted him to come out and automatically be concerned with people other than himself? Even if that was a fact and he was able to do that, it was going to take time for him to do that. It's the fact that you just automatically thought that that was going to happen. No, it didn't happen. It's not happening. It's more than likely not going to happen. And if it does happen, it's not going to be with you. It's going to be with some other woman, because now he's gotten the experience being with you. So the next woman he actually gets with, and if you guys get divorced and he decides to marry again, everything, unfortunately, he took you through, that new woman, it's not going to go through it, because he's had time. And that's what you should have gave him, time. And even if you would have gave him that time, more than likely, y'all probably wouldn't even got together, because over time, you would have realized, and he would have realized, that y'all probably weren't meant to be.
And it's like, no, you're not going to use that and think that that's going to work. Because if you can't talk to me about what's going on, we're not talking, period. And I don't know how that's going to affect our relationship overall, but I don't even think that far, because what's going to be is going to be, what's meant to happen is going to happen. And either way, I don't have any control over that. So I'm just staying focused on doing what I need to do for me, to make sure I'm okay. And in doing so, I'm also making sure that I'm okay because I need to be okay for my children. I'm not going to be out here making decisions, that could ultimately affect Summer the way that I did with my two older children. I'm not going to make that same mistake. So I'm just taking my time, and just letting the process unfold and just taking it day by day that way. I'm not going to do anything that's going to disrupt Summer mentally and emotionally because I'm out here trying to find happiness. I now understand from experience that her happiness is my happiness. That's where it starts for me. That's where my happiness starts.
I'm sorry, you guys. So Southside said that, he's trying to catch up on life that he missed out on. And obviously that's true. But here's the reality to that. You can't catch up on 30 years. There's no way. Like, you have to understand, those are 30 years that have went by and you missed out. So you got to pick up where God is allowing you to pick up on. Right? When the state of California let your ass go, that's when life starts for you, right then and there. Because you can't worry about catching up, because let's be honest, y'all, 30 years. So let me say, so I think he got out in 2020. So when he went to prison, what, like in the 80s? The world has totally changed and evolved from the 80s something to 2024. There's no way that he could catch up on any of that. You just got to start from where you were able to start, and just keep moving on from there, in my opinion. Anybody with common sense would know that. But the unfortunate part for Mrs. Miles that she did not realize is when that man went to prison at 19 and he got out at 50, he was still 19 in the mind, mentally. He was still emotionally. He was still 19. See, she thought because he's 50 and how she's aged, because she's aged with experience, she thought the same with him. And then this man is older than her because she's like 40 something. He's probably, I don't know, 5 years or so older than her. He's much older than her. So she's had the experience. She was able to do this and do that. Live life, married, have kids, work jobs, travel. She was able to do all that. He wasn't able to do any of that. That's why you should allow that man to live his life. And if y'all just if chance meet later on down the line and y'all reunite or reconnect, and if the cards were, if it was in the cards, then okay. You should have let that man be that man. Like, girl, at the end of the day, it's too many dating websites out here to be, dealing with a situation like that. Now, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody that's waiting on a man in prison, but trust and believe, y'all, TMR can tell you from her own personal experience, it ain't worth it. Trust and believe.
So, as far as the marriage is concerned, I'm just like, I know it's really simple. I know I can just easily just go to the courthouse. My bad, y'all. Order came through. So really quickly, I know I could just go to the courthouse, file for a divorce and, get the ball rolling, since it seems as though, it's not important to him to have these conversations, to fight for this marriage, and do the things that we need to do to try to save what's left of this marriage. This whole nonchalant attitude and just the refusal and the avoidance and the running, and I'm over it, but I'm not to that point to where I want to go there. Just to be completely honest, I'm not there to do that yet, because honestly, I've invested a lot into this relationship. This was supposed to be my last stop. This was supposed to be it for me. This was supposed to be my happily ever after. To invest as much as I have into this marriage, for it to end up like this, is just so bizarre to me, because
it's so bizarre, sis, because you keep saying, if you notice in your sentences that you spew out your mouth, you keep using the words I. You never say we. You say I invested. I put so much into I. You never say we. That's the problem, sis. There's no we in your situation. There's only a you or an I or a me.
So unnecessary that we are at this point, at this age, at this stage of our lives. Like, it's crazy to me. And so it's difficult. It's difficult. As simple as it is, it's difficult. It's difficult because I've invested so much emotionally and mentally, and it's not just about me. It's also about Summer. Summer's calling you daddy. She really looks at him, as her father, and she's mentally and emotionally invested. Like, I really went all in with him.
But that's the problem. Why did you get Summer mentally and emotionally invested in a situation that you weren't really sure about? That's your fault. Summer shouldn't be mentally and emotionally invested in a situation that you weren't even 100% sure of. You didn't know what to expect from this man, him getting out of prison. You know what he told you, because let's be honest, they'll run game on you, sis. That happens. Shoot, the niggas on the street, the free men, they run game. So can't you just imagine one that's been locked up for decades and decades, 3 decades, can run game too? So again, I personally wish she would stop using Summer as an excuse, because Summer is a child, okay? And Summer is going to grow to be a woman, and she's going to go out and she's going to live her own life, and she's going to find her own happiness in a man or woman or whatever she chooses to do, sexually. However, Summer's going to find her own happiness, okay? So in my opinion, the only thing that she can do for her daughter is be the best mother that she can to for her child. And as far as giving Summer a dad, I mean, go find the real dad and see if he's willing to be a father to his child. And if he's not, then you have to apologize for to your daughter for choosing a man that didn't want to be a participant of her life, and then continue to build your life and her life and move on. Because again, this man doesn't sound like he's concerned with what he created with you. He doesn't sound like, she said he's a good dad. Okay, that's great, but you need him to be a husband to you. He needs to be a good husband too, not just a good dad.
So for it to end up like this, it's just really crazy. It's really crazy to me. And so of course, no, I don't want to give up on my marriage and destroy our family and go through all that. I really don't. But at the same time, I'm at this space where I'm not going to fight for it alone. I'm not going to do that. And nor am I going to pretend as if everything is okay because, you know, over time, when the smoke settles, you know, we'll get past it. No, we're never going to get past it until we do the work. And he just simply doesn't want to do the work. And he just wants to feed me anything and think that I'm just supposed to accept that shit. And I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. So we'll see how that plays out because everything has an end. Everything has an end. And throughout this process, I just want to be real to myself. I just want to be real about how I really feel. I don't want to rush into anything when I know that's not really how I feel, and then end up putting myself even through more mental and emotional pain because I'm out here doing stuff that I really don't want to do, even though it's probably the best thing for me. Like, I'm just trying to take my time and just let the process unfold the way that it's supposed to. And in the meantime, I'm just working on me. I'm just going to continue to work on me and stay focused on me and making sure that I do what I need to do so that, in the event that if we're not together, I'm still cool, So that's just where my head is at.
Well, you know what? And that's, I mean, I really don't know what to say to that at this point. Sounds like that's the only alternative you have. If he's not willing to meet you in the middle, then you're gonna have to, take this trip by yourself. Yeah, it is. Truth be told, it is. But this lady is just, that's what I'm saying. Here's the thing that I have the problem with this social media thing. Everybody want to come and tell their story, but half the time the story that they're telling, it doesn't even make sense, and it definitely doesn't even make sense to tell the story, because again, she told the first video we watched, she told that she wanted to tell the story because she wanted to help other people. But you're not even helping yourself. So how are you going to help anybody else when you're not even helping yourself? You're not even taking you haven't even taken the steps to help yourself. So how's your story going to help anybody when your story does not help you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't understand social media. Social media is just very wild to me, because all these people get on here and spew all this whatever they're talking about, and it's just like, sis, a lot of this stuff you could just keep it to yourself. Like, we don't really need to know any of this. Like, had she not, let me say this, had the person who sent it to me had not told me, I hadn't thought about this lady in years. I'm glad to see that she's living and breathing and doing, physically well, but mentally she's in a she's in a straight asylum. Let me say that. She's in some type of mental asylum. And the biggest thing is she loves this man more than he loves her. That's evident based off the things she has said to us. Now, I know Black and Bougie, you said that the man speaks like he has a good head on his shoulder. Well, I guess he would, sis. You got to think about it. Over time, he's been locked up for all these years, and he was obviously around a lot of men that were older than him. They probably put him up on game, and he's been reading books, and books has taught him life. Life didn't teach him life. Books taught him life. We need to see this ninja. You said we need to see this ninja. I'm be honest with y'all. Y'all can go over to her channel and see what the man look like, okay? Because let's be honest, y'all. At this point, what he look like doesn't really, I mean, he can look very handsome and he can look very ugly. It doesn't really matter what he looks like. It's the way he's treating her. You know, that, you know, if y'all want to go see what he looked like, y'all can go over there and take a look at the video. I just told you the name of the channel, Mrs. Miles World. Y'all can definitely go over there and take a look at him, because it's really not about how he looks. It's about how he's treating her as a woman. You know what I'm saying? It's about us as women, y'all, and how we got to preserve ourselves. I don't expect anybody to, you know, if you don't have to listen to me. I'm just on here doing a reaction video. But it's all about how we preserve ourselves, you guys. We got to learn how to preserve ourselves, because when the chips are down, nobody's going to come for you like you can come for yourself, you know. And that's just my thing, y'all. Yeah, he's not a looker to me, you know, but everybody has their own, you know, taste. So no accountability. Yeah, no, she really hasn't taken any accountability yet. And is she going to take accountability? I mean, I don't know, you know, but it sounds like even after all that this man has been going through with her for the past 4 years, she's still trying to, you know, she wants this man to tell her that I did you wrong. But even if he says that, it doesn't negate the fact that he treated you wrong when he shouldn't have. Him confessing to you, or let's say this, let's use this word, him taking accountability on the fact that he dogged you out doesn't negate the fact that he dogged you out. And he can't change that. Him taking accountability is great, but it doesn't change the fact that he did it. So me personally, you don't necessarily got to take accountability, because it doesn't change the fact that you put me through unnecessary drama. That's just my opinion on things. It doesn't change the fact that you put me, our family, through unnecessary drama. So, all right, y'all, that's my time, honey. I wanted to react to this video again, because, you know, y'all, like I said, and a lot of you also said that you followed her when she was doing reactions on the moms. And, you know, here's the story. The moral of the story is, y'all, everybody got a story to tell. Everybody got a story to tell, you know, and she definitely has a story to tell. The only sad thing for me is when she married this guy, or when she was talking about marrying this guy, a lot of people advised her to not to marry this guy. Like, and obviously, for the biggest reason, the man had been incarcerated for 30 years. Like, that just, like, think about that, y'all. 30 years, you've been incarcerated for 30 years, and she thought that was a good idea to marry him when he hadn't even experienced life his damn self. He went to prison at 19. Since he hadn't even experienced life had just started for him, and he went to prison. And she thought it was going to be a good idea to make this man her husband, and thought he was going to come out and take care of a family, when he's never experienced taking care of a family. He never experienced that. So she thought he was going to come out of prison and knew what to do, when he had never done it before. You said he's been locked up since I was 13. Since you were 13. Yeah. She wasn't thinking of him at all. No, she wasn't. She was listening to how he was love bombing her. She was listening to how he was, you know, finessing her over the phone and in letters, and when she could do visits. And y'all know, I think in California, they do conjugal visits too. So that could have been another reason why they married while he was still locked up, because once you marry, I believe in the state of California, you could do conjugal visits in California. So that could have been another reason why they got married prior to him getting out of prison. Because, you know, that was a way for them to hook up. Because in prison in California, I think California, New York, I believe New York as well too, they have conjugal visits in those states. So that could have been a reason too. Child, a mess. You hear me? Around the time Tupac died. Yeah, baby, a mess. Yeah, around the time Tupac died. It's probably about 3 years before Tupac passed away. Yeah. All right, y'all. That's my time, honey. Let me get on up out of here. I got some stuff I need to finish doing. Y'all have a good weekend. Y'all be good. Y'all be great. Until I'm not gonna see y'all in the next one, honey. I'm gonna just pray for that woman. That's all I can do at this point. At this point, just pray for her and hope everything work out for her. All right, y'all. Sub what you love. Bye.